We've got a slew of kids releases to look at this month, and I'm going to start with one that takes me back to my childhood, and that is Sid and Marty Krofft's Saturday Morning Hits. Now, I don't know how kids today are going to react to these shows, but I can tell you that I grew up watching some of these shows, and they're horribly cheesy and horribly delightful all at the same time. What you get on Sid and Marty Krofft's Saturday Morning Hits are 7 episodes, over 2.5 hours of shows from the heyday of the Krofft Superstars. So you get an episode each of H&R Puffnstuff, The Bugaloos, Lidsville, Sigmund and the Sea Monsters, Electro Woman and Dyna Girl, Wonderbug, and Bigfoot and Wild Boy. Now, most of these have never even been released on DVD in any format, any episode, so this is pretty cool actually. It's a really neat trip back to your childhood. In fact, there's actually a couple of these I don't remember. I don't remember Bigfoot and Wild Boy from when I was a kid, and I don't remember Lidsville from when I was a kid. Those were new to me. It doesn't mean I really fell in love with them. These really are sort of pure nostalgia through and through. But it was really kind of great to take a quick trip back to my childhood and kind of see what the Krofft shows that I grew up with were like. There's also one DVD extra. It's called 50 Years of Krofft Art, and it's basically an artwork collection that includes character development and designs and presentation artwork and all sorts of just various art pieces from the Krofft library. So it's really a neat... It's not quite a documentary, this disc, but it is sort of a neat overview of the Krofft stable of characters. So it's a lot of fun for people who are in my age bracket, which is somewhere in the neighborhood of something years old. So, moving on, we have Charlie Brown's Christmas Tales. Yeah, I know it's a little bit late, but still, this is a disc with a Charlie Brown Christmas special and an extra special called Is This Goodbye, Charlie Brown? Now, I love Charlie Brown. I love the Peanut specials, but this disc is 18 minutes long. The actual Christmas special itself is 18 minutes. It's really hard to recommend purchasing a disc that's 18 minutes long, even with the bonus episode of Is This Goodbye, Charlie Brown. Seeing as how Warner has been putting out the Peanuts in the 60s, Peanuts in the 70s special, hopefully they're going to get back to doing those with the 80s and the 90s, if there were any. I just can't really recommend an 18-minute DVD to anybody. So it's a great Christmas special. It's a lot of fun, but it's so short. It's worth renting or even downloading, legally, of course, if you have the wherewithal. Next up, we have Hot Wheels Battle Force 5, Season 1, Part 2. Now, I like this show. It's great fun for kids in that kind of 10 to 12-year-old range, maybe 8 to 14 if you're pushing it. And it's kind of a cool science fiction-y race car, computer-generated action show. It's certainly the type of thing I would have been into around the time I was 9 or 10 years old. I would have loved this show. And as it is, it's still pretty entertaining watching it as an adult. I think kids are really going to get it more. It is geared for them. The writing and the character development isn't necessarily something that's going to appeal to most adults, save for those adults who like kid things, like myself. But it certainly is an interesting show. This is cool because this isn't just one of the 5-episode releases that Warner tends to do either. This is a 14-disc, a 14-episode 2-disc collection, and that's really cool. So you were talking about 312 minutes, as it says on the back of the DVD case, worth of material here, and you know, it's a good, fun show for boys especially, although I'm sure some girls out there will like it. Along those same lines, we have Beyblade Metal Fusion Volume 2. This is one of those shows, kind of like the whole Pokemon Dragon Ball thing. I don't entirely get it. Now, this is the first one that I've watched and is Volume 2. I don't know if watching it from the beginning would have made more sense, but I know these are very popular. I know a lot of kids like them, and I do know there's 7 episodes on this disc. So if you like this show, while I always recommend waiting for complete season collections, at least you're getting 7 episodes as opposed to the usual 4 or 5 they slap on these discs, even if there are no extra features. Next up, we have a couple of releases from Nickelodeon. We have Yo Gabba Gabba, Let's Visit the Doctor. And this isn't all about going to the doctor. It's 4 episodes, Doctor, Teeth, Clean, and Car. You can sort of see a little theme there. And, you know, this is a show that is really bizarre and acid trippy and strange, and kids like it a lot. And so do some adults, apparently. I don't get that. It's a little too weird for my taste. My kids like it. I'm glad to say they don't love it. It's a show that they'll watch, but it's not their favorite. They don't ask for it regularly. And this disc includes 4 episodes, but no extra features. So good to throw on for the kids. Don't watch it too much yourself, or you might find yourself feeling a little strange in the head. Next up, we have Max and Ruby Bunny Tales. Max and Ruby is a show that my kids are getting into a little bit more lately, I have to admit. It's still not my favorite. I just don't get where the parents are. Why is it that Ruby always has to take care of Max no matter what's going on? But like the Yo Gabba Gabba episode, you get or disc, you get 4 episodes, no extra features, and each episode features sort of 3 kind of mini story arcs. So it feels like you get a lot of bang for your buck. I mean, really, it's an hour and 40 minutes long. So compared to some of these DVDs that throw about 40 minutes of content onto them, it's hard to complain. Speaking of DVDs with 40 minutes of content on them, we move on to a collection, a new batch of Hit Factory DVDs from Lionsgate, including Barney, Musical Zoo, Bob the Builder, The Golden Hammer, the movie, Thomas and Friends, Wobbly Wheels and Whistles, Fireman Sam, Ready for Action, and Hit Factory favorites, Animal Tales. Now, there's not a whole lot I can tell you about these in terms of any sort of real descriptive information. There's no plots or characters or things like that to worry about. I can say that each of them includes anywhere from 40 minutes to an hour's worth of material, and most of them are geared for that preschool set, which I happen to have 2 of those preschool kids, so these were a hit in my house. Barney, of course, the Musical Zoo, is a very musically based episode about animals. There's 3 episodes. It's only 40 minutes, could be a little longer, and you get a Animal Sounds match game. You also get a bonus episode of Timmy Time, which is the cool new fun show that's airing on, I guess, Nickelodeon or Disney Playhouse. I can't remember. In fact, you'll find that this episode of Timmy Time is a bonus feature on most of these DVDs. The only thing about that that's disappointing is it's the same episode on each of them. So if you buy 2 or 3 of these DVDs, you will not get 2 or 3 different Timmy Time episodes. You will get the same one. Next up, we have Bob the Builder, The Golden Hammer, the movie, a brand new Bob the Builder movie that's computer generated, which is, I don't know if it's a first for Bob the Builder, as I haven't seen every single recent DVD, but it's the first one that I've noticed like that. And as a result, it moves a lot better than some of the Bob the Builder stuff, which I tend to find very boring. My kids aren't that into it. I find it not to be the most interesting kids cartoon, but the CGI movie here at an hour long moves along pretty well, and I have to say it's one of the better Bob the Builder things that I've seen. No Timmy Time episode, but you do get a Build a House with Bob game. Thomas and Friends, always fun. Once again, the new CGI Thomas, which is a lot better than the old Thomas. Again, more interesting, a little less boring. There are some activities and games with Driver Perkins on the DVD, some Steam Team puzzles, and of course the Timmy Time episode. And that one runs about 48 minutes. Fireman Sam is sort of an interesting kind of fun show for kids about, well, a fireman named Sam, and it kind of gets some good safety lessons, so that's always a plus. There's 5 episodes. They're not full-length episodes, so the whole disc runs about 46 minutes, and once again, the only bonus feature is that same episode of Timmy Time. And then the last one is the Hit Factory favorites, Animal Tales, which is an animal-themed episode, collection of the Hit Factory favorites. So you get an episode of Bob the Builder, an episode of Thomas and Friends, an episode of Fireman Sam, an episode of Barney, and an episode of Kipper, all having to deal with animals. These are always fun DVDs because they're kind of a range of characters, a little something for everyone. If your kids don't all love the exact same characters, but they're all in the same age range, like mine are, this is a good disc you can pop on because in 10 minutes, whatever they don't like is on, and the one that they do like will be starting. No extra features, not even a Timmy Time bonus episode, unfortunately. So there you have it, a whole lot of kids' discs to choose from this month.